Release the Kraken!
Good morning, fellow game designers. Ron here at Lame Duck Studios. And in this one, we're going to go ahead and set up our landing animation for our elf. We're going to create a specific landing animation, but you actually don't have to. If I go back to frame 1 here, expand this back out, you can use your initial jumping animation as a landing animation. Because if I run this backward, his feet are going down, he hits contact, and then he squishes down and he's back up. So that in reverse would work as a landing pose, because the same amount of force to get you off the ground would be the same amount of force that you would have to absorb when you hit the ground. So you can use that as your landing animation. And I'll show you how to do both, but just wanted you to be aware of that. So I'm going over to frame 12 here. So 12 to 72, this is our idle, or our falling animation. And then I'm going to adjust this from 72, and then from 72 down to, let's do 85. We probably won't need this many frames. The contact is going to be a lot quicker. Probably out to 78 is what we'll actually end up using. I'm going to go ahead and save this because, Maya's been crashy. So let's actually go ahead and dial this down to 80. Okay, I'm going to go back to frame 1. Expand this back out. From frame 1, I'm actually going to go up, make sure we select our root joint, and then do a selection for the hierarchy. I'm going to copy frame 1. Make sure you save, because sometimes Maya likes to crash. I'm going to come out here to frame 78. This is going to be where we're going to actually touch down. Right click, go ahead and paste. Make sure I save this out as a different iteration in the event that it crashes here. Okay, drop this back down to 72. There we are. So I'm here, and it should be him putting his feet on the ground. Bam. So that's not exactly how the landing is going to work. So I'm actually going to move this frame back. I'm going to hit Shift, click on it. I'm going to drag this frame back to about here on 74. I'm going to click off and then Control Z just to reselect that. So we have that. We're hitting feet touch the ground. And then from here, I'm going to copy this pose. I'm actually going to put it back to 80. Or I'll do 78. I'll put that in there. Paste that in 78. Now these two frames are the same, but this one I'm going to have him in a crouching position. So from here, he hits the ground, and then the very next frame, he's going to crouch down. So I'll take those hips, side view, take him down quite a bit. I'm going to put the help us rotate that forward just a little bit. Because generally when you land, your upper body kind of moves forward because your center of gravity shifts. And this leg up. Once again, I'm just going to line it up with my blocks here. Again, check my frames. This foot's a little bit higher. the arms swing back. Again, make sure you're not passing through the body. Torso is going to bend forward just a tad. And there goes my crashing. Don't forget to turn auto key back on as we go back and rekey those. Now we end up falling or we end up landing, we try to keep our head facing forward. So I'm going to actually hold the head back. And we'll do a little bit of a secondary, sort of like whiplash on the head in just a second here. So running through, he hits the ground. And what I'm going to do for this frame, because I don't actually need necessarily this contact frame, this is so quick we probably won't even see it. So I'm going to go ahead and take that contact frame off. Select the whole body, so root bone, select hierarchy. This one, right click on it, delete it. As you can see here, we have an initial contact sort of happening. So that should work for that. And then just to show a little extra, I'm going to take this frame, hold shift, click on it. I'm going to move that back to 80. Click off, Control Z. And just to show that he hit the ground pretty hard, and have him take a quick step forward, and his head is also going to do a bit of a bob. So copy this. I'm going to come out to 78. I'll hit paste. You can see sometimes when you copy and paste multiple joints, you get an error. Look at that. Everything's good except for the knees. The body shift, arm shift happened. So let's do a trick. I'm going to go ahead and delete this frame off. Take this frame, the one right after it. I'm going to hold, hit the S key, hold shift, drag that out. Click off, Control Z. So to make life easier, so that we're not competing with these joints, you see how we pasted this in? There's a bit of flipping, like this joint to there, not too bad, but there's some flipping in between here. I'm going to select all, hierarchy, delete off this ending frame, as much as I hate to delete it off. And I'll delete off this frame here, so that nothing after this is influencing the joints. Okay, I'm going to go over to frame 76. I'm actually going to go a bit further out, go to frame 80. That way I have a little bit more time to interpolate here. Let's just hit the S key here. That way these are all locked here, nice and frozen. Gives me a little bit of extra room to interpolate. So right around 77 or so, I'm going to do the S key. I'm going to have him kind of like he's lurching forward and then kind of taking an extra step. So let's go ahead and set that up. I'm going to grab the pelvis here. Let's move him down. He's taking a bit more impact. So for that to work, let's take this. This knee has to come out some, and then go back some. And instead of having the heel down in this case, I'm going to have the toe turn up. Like it's taking the force. This one is going to come up and then back. Again, I'm matching this frame. Get him to lurch a little bit more forward. The head won't go quite as far. You can see we have a bit of a glitch there. The hoodie kind of disappeared, but I think we're okay. So Maya has crashed on me about 20 times at this point. To make life simpler on me and you, we're going to take the animation that we currently have. We'll pretty much call this a day. I do want to add just a little bit. We need to add the ending so he stands back up. And I would actually like him to sell this impact a little bit more. I'm going to make him go down just a tad more, and then add a little whiplash, and then I think we'll call it. So I'm going to grab that pelvis, move him down a bit. Now I am turning the leg a little bit. It's not going to quite match, but when you fall, and you have to have this kind of shift, you'll shift your weight a bit. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm going to put him up on the toe. Oops, lower that just a little bit. Kick the body a little bit more forward so he's more off balance. Again, the head's going to come back because he's trying to keep his head stable, is what we would do. As the body comes down, the arms are going to go back from the momentum. So, shoulder back, this elbow, shoulder back. And then here on 79, I'm going to have this foot out just a little bit more. Alright, another crash, another change. Okay, so we got down to here. And let's just add that secondary motion for the head. And then we'll have him stand up. So anyway, going forward, he hits, the body goes down. Remember, the head is supposed to stay pretty much back. So wherever the head is, I'm going to keep the head back a little bit more. And then right here at 79, I'm going to have the head move forward. Just to have some secondary motion. So we'll hit. We need a little bit of secondary motion on the hands because they hit, but they're stiff, right? So at this point they would hit, it would swing back. They would continue to swing backward. So grab that shoulder, grab that shoulder. I'm going to save it real quick because I've been having terrible luck with this crashing. And then because of how motion works, if you leave your arms limp and you very quickly drop down, the shoulders are going to follow the torso. The elbows are going to dangle and get to about here. They're going to go upward. So we're actually going to go up. And then back here, they're going to go back. All right, just so I have frames occupied. So I know I have a frame for the head over here, but there's nothing for the other parts. So let's grab the body. Let's do select all hierarchy. I'm going to hit S here. There, 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 and there. Let's give ourselves a little bit more framework. Let's go forward just a little bit more. Let's go to 90. Expand this out. I'm going to give some room between this frame and these. So click. Go to 83 on that one. I'll click off, Control Z. Grab this one, Shift click. Move it forward. Click off, Control Z, Shift click. That one's fine. So we'll hit. Looks like the elbows are just a little bit out of sync with the mesh there. So we hit, comes down. See this elbow. There's a bit of a jitter. And grab this arm, this elbow, and delete this frame for that elbow. And then S, rekey it. Now, I'd really love for him to take a little bit of a step, but with the luck that we've been having with the recording, I'm just going to shift the shoulders forward a tad. Those arms are being a little bit jittery. So from here, we're coming down. I think some of that is because we're hitting down and back up, and then we get to here. You can see the arm swings in for out. So here, just before we land, I'm going to take these arms. Actually, that is the impact. I'm going to take the elbows up just a bit. That when we get to this point, right, the elbows are kind of up already. Now they're compressing down, and they swing back a little bit more naturally. Let's see if that helps with the jitter. A little bit. There's a bit of fine-tuning to kind of go through, but for this particular case, like going in and catching those little pops, or here where the arm, that awkward rotation right there, or the sliding foot that's there. Those are things you have to kind of go through and iron out. Add in additional frames if you need to, move it, force it into position. You can go into the animation curves and tweak those as well. All right, let's add on that last piece for him standing back up, and we should call it a day. I'm going to go back to frame 1. Make sure you save it at this point, because this is where it loves to crash. So go ahead and save. Take frame 1. Select the body here, or the root joint. Select hierarchy. Right click, copy. I'm going to go over to 90, right click, I'm going to paste. Did it work? Is it good? Did it crash? Huh. So this frame and that frame should be the same. And he should be trying to stand back up. So if we run the whole thing from 1 to 90, we should have a jump, a land. So there it is in completion. We have the jump. We jump to the air. We kind of hang time for a little bit, hit the ground with a little bit of follow through, and awesome. All right, so we're going to save this here. And the next one, we'll look at how to export all these as different pieces and then get them into Unreal. And we'll do all the stuff to hook it up. Okay. I shall see you next time. Hey guys, thanks for checking out my channel. Misty and I both thank you. If you've enjoyed the video you just watched, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Also, if you have any comments or suggestions for future videos, make sure you leave them down in the comments. I upload new content every Sunday, and I release content every Wednesday. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, I do have a Patreon. get content early. I also have official merch, Lame Duck Studio merch. It does exist. They do exist. So make sure you stick around for anything new, and I will see you next time.